Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the Albany City Council meeting, Wednesday, July 26th, 2023 at 6 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and please join me in this pledge of allegiance. Thank you. Gabe, can you have a roll call, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Mayor Alex Johnson II,
Here.
Councilors Newton,
Present.
Novak,
Here.
Montague,
Here.
Kopczynski,
Here.
McGee,
Present.
and Smith.
Here.
All members present, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Gabe. Next on the agenda is special presentations by Community Doula Program. Rosalind Bermud, is she here today? Oh, she's virtual. Hey, Rosalind. So you're first up. You have 10 minutes, and we'll do a 5-minute question and answer for the counselors.
Wonderful. My name is Melissa Cheney, and I'm also involved with the program, and so I'm here as well today. And we sent a PowerPoint presentation to share.
I didn't get it. Did you?
See,
I thought they were going to share it.
you can let us know if you'd like us to try to share or whether you'll be sharing it there.
Are we sharing it here? Or do you need to share it on your end?
Okay, no problem. We'll pull it right up.
Hi, Rosalind.
Hi, Alex. She's got the microphone on. It's great to see you. Thank you for having us.
We're actually sitting next to each other,
Okay.
Yeah.
two separate computers, but
I apologize for the delay. I thought that you were going to do it. Missy, do you want to start with a little bit of overview as I bring it up?
sure. So as Rosalind brings it up, I'll just say quickly that I am a professor at Oregon State University and a midwife, and I oversee the research component, and Rosalind Bermud is the executive director of the program, and she works on most of the programming. So we're so excited to tell you a little bit about this program today, and we'll try to stay conscious of time here. So this program is a partnership between the Uplift Lab at Oregon State University, Oregon State, and the Intercommunity Health Network, CCO. And just by way of starting, I'll say that oftentimes people confuse doulas and midwives. And so just to be clear from the start, doulas are care providers who are not clinicians. They're not clinical or medical. They provide physical, emotional, psychosocial resource and advocacy support for people who are pregnant, giving birth, and into the early parenting period. So they are a form of traditional health worker. So the goal of the Community Doula Program is to improve maternal and infant health outcomes for pregnant individuals and their families through the provision of culturally and linguistically matched doula care. And what motivates us, we have two things that we find ourselves saying that are really at the core of our belief system. One is that we can't all be created equal if we can't get an equal start in life. So we are looking to use doula support, doula care as a way of making sure that every baby, every family gets the best possible start in life. We also say that healthy communities start with healthy birth. So next slide. In 2018, we received a grant from IHN CCO to develop a community doula program. And the idea was to recruit and train doulas from the communities where we would be serving so that members of the community would meet a doula and potentially feel an immediate connection with that person. So they would feel this person knows a bit about my history, speaks my language, knows about the struggles I've had in my life, and then can stand alongside me as an advocate through this process of becoming a parent. We use a reproductive justice framework that comes from Sister Song, which was the first women of color reproductive justice collective in the US. And on this slide, I'll just point out two things. One is that we have these sort of 4 guiding principles. And the third one on there says, center those made most vulnerable by systems of oppression. And so that's really a core value for us. And our idea is to take individuals who historically received lower quality care and provide them with the best quality care. And we asked what would happen in our society if we took those made most vulnerable and gave them the best possible care rather than having something that people can afford who are from middle or upper class backgrounds. And we joined together across issues and identities. And you'll see in this image, which is a sort of a mock-up, a plan for a mural that we hope to have painted on the side of our building, which I'll tell you about in a few minutes. And you can see this is really designed to express this value where you have this chubby, healthy baby, not preterm, not low birth weight, surrounded by this healthy ecosystem. So you have the most vulnerable being centered in the community. Now, the next slide will show you what the aims of the program are, the goals. So recruit, train, and reimburse culturally and socially diverse doulas. When we started this project, there were 6 doulas on the traditional health worker registry for the state of Oregon. They were all white and monolingual, and now there are 150 doulas, 45 of which have gotten onto the registry, and 40% of those are doulas of color. So we still have over 100 doulas that have been trained that we're still working with to get on the registry. It's quite a long and involved process. We also had the goal of improving birth outcomes and reducing health inequalities through this one-on-one support and advocacy that can be offered by birth doulas. And we have a couple graphics to show you that show some of our major outcomes. And then we wanted to offer doula support and services to anyone who qualified for Medicaid. And we have a special focus on those that are what we call priority populations. So these are individuals who are English language learners. They have medically complex pregnancies. They're young parents, which the state defines as 21 years or younger. They may have current or a history of substance use disorder, mental health issues, and they may have low or no social support. So far, we've served over 1,200 families. And here are some of our outcomes. The doulas in our program speak 10 different languages. So it's very rare that we have someone come into the program where we can't offer linguistically matched care. And this means that people can speak in the language they're most comfortable in during their labor instead of having to be dependent on the blue telephones for translation, which we find people don't love using when they're in labor. We have also seen that having a doula present makes it twice as likely that people will reach their infant feeding goals. And that's compared to a comparison group that's matched, except that they don't have a doula, so they're getting traditional or standard care. And what this means in our program is instead of about 60% of families exclusively breastfeeding when they leave the hospital, we've got almost 100. I think we've had only one person who wasn't. So having that extra support in the postpartum period can make a huge difference in infant feeding. And then the other 2 major ways the program has impacted outcomes is on the next slide, you'll see there's been a reduction in cesarean birth rates. So without a doula, the comparison group has about a 30% cesarean birth rate. It's actually just a little over that. It's between 30 and 36, depending on how medically complex the person's pregnancy is. And with a doula, that goes down to about 15%. So extraordinary cost savings and also a reduction in suffering and recovery rates associated with preventing unnecessary cesareans. And then there's been a significant reduction in babies that are born prematurely from about 11% down to 4.6%, with most of that impact being among communities of color. And then finally, we'll close by saying that, for us, it's not, we'll want to go to the next slide. It's not just about the numbers. We use an approach that's called multimodal ethnography and digital storytelling. And that's where we encourage those that participate in our program to tell the story of what doula care has meant to them, not just through the numbers that track their outcomes, but also through poetry and art. And so we had this really beautiful exhibit last year called Push for Doulas. And here you can see some of the images that the doulas created to help describe their experiences of providing care during the pandemic. And this piece you're seeing here is called Our Eyes Take in Love. And here are 3 of our doulas getting their picture taken in front of some of the artwork that they created. And the next slide, you'll see that we see a participant there who's kind of watching these doulas be so excited and celebrate the amazing work that they did during the pandemic. Many of our doulas transitioned to be workers in the community who would go around and do community testing. So their skill set that they get as a traditional health worker doula extended into all kinds of different aspects of care that became really vital during the pandemic. And then finally, a few more shots of the images. And then you can see some of the poetry. So in addition to having people create artwork and tell the narrative or story through interviews of their experience of having doula care, we also did some community poetry where we talked about the images and then translated those into poetry. This one was written by Jaya Lapham, who is a doula that provides care to the Mandarin-speaking individuals in Linn-Benton and Licking County. And then on the next slide, There's a collaborative piece that the Community Doula Program Art Voice Collective created. And there again, you can see Our Eyes Taken Love. That's the image. And I'll leave you with just a quick reading of the poem that the doulas created that also produced that piece of artwork. The experience of togetherness helped us release our pain, being able to heal through giving, loving. Everyone should do this. A deepening of experience and relationship, emotional journeys, tasks of emotion, love journeys that we take, all the layers that we give, Our Eyes Taken Love. And then on the next slide, I'll encourage you all to go check out Choices in Childbirth. 3 doula programs in the United States were highlighted in a series of short videos that they called chapters, and these are available in CVS Drugs through support from Aetna. And enables people who go into CVS to buy a pregnancy test or diapers or whatever it is to be able to click on a QR code and find out about the amazing work of doulas. And that right-hand picture there is a family in our program who's now having their second baby and has provided these chapters in Spanish so that Spanish speakers can find out about the value of doula care. And then the last thing I'll tell you is that we're actually sitting in this building, Monarch and Fourth. This is our most recent project. It's a building on 4th Street in Corvallis. If you arrive at this building, you can get full wraparound services, everything you need to be supported through pregnancy and early parenting under one roof. So we have dozens of collaborators, and the idea is that as people come through the doors, we offer wraparound care, and we say we wrap our arms around individuals and try to give them the best possible start as parents. So thanks for having us, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I'll turn it over to the council, see if they have any questions or comments. Councilor McGee.
First of all, that's amazing. This program is so great. I have a friend who's a doula. I did have, and she went to OSU. So, quick question. How long is how do you recruit? Like, what is your recruitment practices? And then how long is the program? Does it take them to get the doula licenses or certification?
That's such a good question. When we first started the program, what we did is Rox and I are both midwives, and so we're well connected to people who provide birthing services in these 3 counties. And so we invited community leaders that were serving various subpopulations within our community to come and join our board and work together to envision and build this program. And really, they have been absolutely critical in helping to recruit people into the program. So as they went back to their own communities and talked in their own language, with using their own cultural norms and terms about the value of doula care, we thought we would maybe be able to recruit 20 or 30 people who wanted to train as doulas. And as you can see, we trained 150, and there's a huge waiting list of more people who want to get trained. So it's been a really effective way to sort of motivate people who are already community leaders and are looked to for, sort of the wise women and the birth sisters in their communities to actually bring them in and give them a skill set that can help them be even more effective. And it takes, how many hours is it, Rosalind? I mean, most of it's under 60 hours, but there's a bit of a range. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to say something about that?
Yeah, sure. And I'll also highlight that we are in talks with LBCC. They're really excited about looking to add this traditional health worker training at the community college level, which is really exciting and something that we're in the very early discussion phase of. And it's still a long process. We've done a lot of work to kind of smooth things out. I will say, like, Oregon is at the forefront. It is a leader in recognizing traditional health workers as Medicaid providers and reimbursing them, which is really exciting. And it also means that we hit a lot of bureaucracy and walls, and we've had to break those down. And so in the beginning, it took years, really, and thanks to IHN and their support through grant funding, they've helped us as we're still kind of bringing those barriers down. But I would say in general, it takes about a year if somebody is like really motivated to get all of the requirements to get onto the registry and become a billable provider.
Okay,
So the total number of hours for training is under 50, but they have to do 3 births as practice births, and then they have to go through the process of getting on the registry. And that's what takes the whole year, is actually getting onto that registry.
Okay, thank you. Councilors, any other questions? Councilor Newton?
So just a little backstory on myself. So my daughter, my oldest daughter, my only daughter, she'll be 8 years old this September. She was born at 28 weeks gestation. And my husband had just graduated from graduate school. We had just moved back to Oregon. She was 2 pounds, 3 ounces, 13 inches long. I actually have a picture of her next to a banana. She was the size of a banana. And we were in the NICU for a very long time. I wish I would have had this kind of service available at that time. And then I also had a pandemic baby. I did a little bit better this time. He was only 6 weeks early, 4 pounds, 6 ounces. But my question is for you, how are you getting the word out to people? You know, I had no idea that this program exists, and I noticed on the website there was like a sliding scale. I know I personally would have benefited, but I know that there's so many women and other people that are pregnant that would absolutely benefit from a program like this, even young parents. So I just want to know more about that.
So true. So we are gradually getting the word out. We've learned that it's very difficult to add this additional service. The maternity care system that we have isn't really designed to accommodate doulas. And so it's taken 5 years to get us to the point where we are now. When we first started, we would get maybe 1 referral a month. And we went around to all of the different possible referrals. So social service agencies, the 5 hospitals, 2 birth centers, all the home birth midwives, told them all about our project, gave them information in multiple languages and said, pass these out to your clientele. We hired a communications person. We have this great website, but it does take time to bring a new service like this into the mainstream and have it be standard of care. And so there's still a lot of work to do to get this information out. We provide these services totally free of charge. If you qualify for Medicaid or COWM, and now I understand they're all collapsing together. But if you qualify for Medicaid, you can have all of these services for free. You'd be surprised how many people, though, decline access to this care because they'll say, I don't believe it's really free. I already have a partner, so I don't feel like I need a doula, or sometimes they even think they already have a doula because there's so many different services that they're negotiating during pregnancy. So it's very confusing for people. So we anticipate that over time, it will become standard of care because the outcomes are so good and more people will know about it. Now, people who have private insurance, we work with them to get them connected to a doula as well, and they will pay for their services. But if you qualify for Medicaid, it's totally free.
Okay, thank you.
Well, in a perfect world, what would you see? How could the city help you get the word out?
Wow.
Well, I shared with Rosalind and invited her to come. So I said, you can share this video with your entire population. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have some thoughts. Well, and thank you for inviting us because we then have been in contact with some local newspaper reporters that are going to give coverage. And I think what I would like to do is to invite all of your city council. We're having a grand opening on the 28th of September from 5 to 7. And so if somebody from your office could give us a list of names of people that it would be helpful for them to come to see the space, to learn about our services, because I think that is really impactful if people can come firsthand, see what we're doing, learn more about us, and from there share the information with the communities, and just giving us opportunities like this to come speak, or if you have other ideas of where we could go and share. We went and spoke to Rotary last week. So now that we're getting to the point where we've kind of built all of the framework to make a sustainable organization that runs on thousands actually of volunteer hours every year and very limited staffing, we're kind of now to the point where we do have some capacity to come and speak and to share about the program and the work that we're doing. And so any ways that we can come and talk and present and share would be greatly appreciated and a huge help.
thank you very much. Council, anything else for them? Councilor McGee has one more thing.
Just one more question. What is the age range of the doulas? Do you have to be because the picture looked like it's kind of cross generational, which is great, but just what's the minimum?
That's such a great question. And we love to say this, but we have one family in our program where you have great grandma, grandma, mom, and daughters. And they're all doulas in our program. So our youngest doulas are 18 years old and our oldest doulas
Oh, over
70?
70.
70
Yeah,
something.
70 something. And
Yeah.
we're always recruiting. We would love for you to come be a doula.
Yeah, would you like to be doula? When you show interest, we follow up with you. Yeah.
And Alex, we do have doulas. So that's
We
what
do.
our male doulas.
They call themselves that. We have 3 male doulas and they do
killing
call
me.
themselves doulas. And they love to provide supports to new fathers and talk about the ways that partners can make a huge difference in the birth experience and in those early days of parenting.
Ladies,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming. Rosalind, it's a pleasure to have you, and same with you, Missy.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much for your presentation, and I'd love to come to your grand opening. I think the council's all been invited, so if you can get us the information, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for being
Love
here.
to have
so
you.
much. Thank you.
Bye-bye now. Thanks. Next on tonight's agenda is Community Outreach Assistance Program, COAT, by Carol Davies, will be assisted by, or joined by former counselor Stacey Bartholomew.
Sorry, I'm a little technologically challenged here. Oh, come on. Here, Stacy. I don't know what it's doing.
So it's doodah, okay.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for allowing me to speak. The first thing I'm going to say is public speaking is not my forte, so I hope you'll all bear with me while I kind of muddle through this. You put me out in the field and I can talk to anybody, but in front of an audience, I get really nervous. So anyway, COAT, or Community Outreach Assistance Team, was formed as part of Creating Housing Coalition. We decided that we needed to get to know some of our unhoused population before our village was built. And there were 2 reasons for that. First of all, we wanted to make sure that we actually got to know people who were unhoused and got to know what their issues were so that we could build an informed village. The second piece was we hope at some point to be able to draw from the people that we've met in order to house people in our village. So that's how COAT was started. So according to last year's PIT count, there were 141 sheltered homeless individuals in Linn County, and there were 235 unsheltered. The sheltered represented 25% increase from the previous year, and the unsheltered represented a 55% increase in the previous year. And I just want to let you know that these numbers are very, very much underrepresented. There are a lot more people out there than these figures represent. So we have a huge issue here in Linn County with people who lack housing. So this is our outreach team. That's Michael on the left and Heather on the right. And we go out 4 days a week. We go out on Mondays and Fridays to all of the parks and areas where people who are unhoused tend to congregate. There's Bottle Drop, there are some laundromats. There are a lot of areas where we meet people who are unhoused. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we go to the I-5 rest area. That's the Santiam rest area. And we see people there. And surprisingly, there are a lot of people who are from Albany at the rest area because there are so few places where people can camp. This is one place where they can at least rest for 12 hours before they have to move on. So that's why we go out to that rest area, even though technically it's in Marion County. We are just right over the line there. But we do see a lot of Albany residents there. So these are some of our partners. We collaborate with all of the service agencies in Albany. We go out with different representatives of different agencies. Just as an example, we had Hillary Kosmicki. She's an EMT from the fire department. She came out with us, and she hopes to come out again. It was extremely useful having her because we frequently see people who have a host of medical problems and they're not able to get adequate care. So as it turned out, when Hillary came out with us, she did see somebody who had a nasty wound on her ear, and Hillary was able to treat it. So it was great having her out with us. We also have had somebody from Lynn Benton Housing Authority, Anna Dvorak. She came out with us, and she was giving out applications for Section 8 housing. So that was extremely helpful too. She answered a lot of questions for people who didn't know how to apply and help them that way. We also have Dana from Lynn County Drug and Alcohol. She comes out with us too. She comes out with us once a week, and she goes to the I-5 rest area. She is very knowledgeable, and she is a great resource, and she's helped us out tremendously. We also have Curtis Park. He is from Chance, and he comes out with us also once a week. Again, another great resource because Chance can direct people to treatment if they need it and to transitional housing. So he is wonderful, and he comes out with us every week. We also occasionally have Tammy Young from Community Services Consortium. She comes out. She is with the Veterans Program. Again, it's so helpful. We have so many veterans that are out there, and Tammy can connect them to her program, and we've had some great success in getting veterans housed with her help. And then also, we do occasionally go out with Jackson Street, and we sometimes team up with Jackson Street. So if we see a young person, we call in a team member from Jackson Street to help us and have them access services. So these are some of the collaborations that we have. We also collaborate with Chance because our storeroom is in their old headquarters, the church building. We collaborate with Community Services Consortium all the time. Family Tree Relief Nursery, we are collaborating with them at Marvin's Garden, which I'll talk about in just a couple minutes. Love Inc., huge resource because we are always getting supplies for our people from Love Inc. Lynn Benton Housing Authority, OCWCOG. We do a lot of referrals to COG for people who need assisted living or adult foster homes. DHS, we refer tons of people to get into some of the different self-sufficiency programs that they have. One of them is STEP, that's a really successful program. Albany Helping Hands, we actually just got 2 referrals from Albany Helping Hands. They sent some people over so that we could help them. And Samaritans, so the list is huge for the people that we collaborate with outside of Lynn County. We also sometimes work very closely with Corvallis Housing First. I just had a nice conversation with Dan Easdale, who is one of Creating Housing's founding members, and he and I collaborate. You know, when we have a tough case, we work together on trying to access services. Also Unity Shelter, so if we have no vacancies or our shelters are full. I work with Tara Gray from Unity Shelter and can get people into services sometimes with them. We also work with Faith, Hope, and Charity, the SORT team, FAC and Sweet Home, another one that I just accessed today, getting one of our people over into the Quonset hut over at Sweet Home, and Crossroads Communities. So one of the other things that we do is we host events. For quite a while, we were participating in Laundry Love, which is it's a group of churches that group their resources together so that they can offer a laundry program 2 days a month. And we had added a third day onto that, so it was really helpful for a while. Now, fortunately, Chance is going to be opening up their laundry facility very soon, I'm told, and that will really help with the issue of getting people's clothes clean and dry. Also, we hand out Narcan. We are part of Save Lives Oregon, and we hand out Narcan on a regular basis. We so far have been indirectly responsible for 14 reversals, so that's really huge. It's an ongoing issue, and we're always ready to help people who need the Narcan. We also plan on getting together with FAC, and they're going to train us in further harm reduction strategies. We hope to be able to do a needle exchange program sometime soon. As you probably know, that seems to be an issue in a lot of parks where there are discarded needles. And so we hope to be able to drastically cut down on that issue by having a needle exchange program. So these are just a very small cross-section of some of the people that we've helped. As you can see, we help families, veterans, people who have health issues. We have currently housed about 26 people since we started a year and a half ago. And we currently have an enormous caseload of over 35 people that we're currently helping. One of the things that I wanted to point out to you is how vital our service is in Albany and Linn County. We are the primary service provider for Marvin's Garden, and we do collaborate with Chance and Family Tree Relief Nursery, but we are the people that show up the most at the campsites, and we also give them access to services. So we do this intensive case management. Excuse me, sorry, nerves are getting control of me again. But we do this intensive case management with them because so often these people have gone through so much trauma that they're unable to navigate the labyrinth of services and things that they need to do in order to successfully get housed. So we have the three of us, Heather, Michael, and myself, doing this intensive case management, getting them services that they need. Since Marvin Garden opened, we have exponentially increased our caseload. So there's a huge increase in the people that we're serving right now. And I also want to point out that Marvin's Garden has been full for, after the first week, they were full, and they continue to be full. Just on Monday, Heather and Michael saw 48 people in one day that were not part of Marvin's Garden. So you can see that Marvin's Garden is just a drop in the bucket for what we really need. We really need so many more resources than Just Marvin's Garden. So far, we have been able to fund our program through from a grant through IHN, and also from a private foundation and CDBG funds. This will keep us funded for a year. For sustainability, we are hoping to be able to bill our services for case management to IHN, and that will cover a good portion of our budget, but it's not going to cover the entire budget. And as the needs continue to increase, our services are even more vitally important to the community and to be funded. So we are hoping to be able to have more sustainability and funding coming up in the future. What we hope this will do, it's going to reduce the drain on services that are currently experienced when people don't have access to safe, affordable housing. And it's also the humane thing to do to help these people. And we also have a critical need to build more affordable housing. And Stacy is going to talk just a little bit about that.
So
Well, I
you're
appreciate it.
at about 20 minutes, so we
Yep.
need to move along. Go ahead.
So just to let you know, all of the council and mayor, is that Carol has been doing this work for 18 months and has had a tremendous impact on our community. And I just wanted to show my support for the work that she has done and how important it is for Albany that she's stepped up into that. So we are really ready to answer any questions you have.
Council, any questions for either of these folks? Councilor Kupczynski?
I think the photograph of the folks involved, your organization, the gentleman down on the bottom, didn't I just see him in the paper or is getting promoted?
He is one of our newest board members, yes. Yeah.
Excellent.
We thought that it was very important to have unhoused people representing our board. So he's a great addition to the board. And I also want to, I keep on talking about it as my board because I've been doing this for 5 years, but I just recently stepped down so that I could become a paid person to do this work. So this is actually Stacy's board now.
Any other councilors have any questions? Well, I would like to say thank you for the service you're providing. I know it's tough, especially when the numbers keep coming, increasing. I know that other communities, people are coming to Albany because we have those kinds of services. But keep the faith, keep working hard, and keep coming back. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda tonight is business from the public. Those wishing to speak to the council from the public will have an opportunity to do so now. Thank you. Mr. Ray Hiltz. Oh, excuse me. Joshua Collins was first. I'm sorry, Ray. Is Joshua Collins online or is he in-house?
He should be online.
I am on Zoom. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can hear you now. Sir, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, gotcha. Well, thank you for having me. I generally have a presentation, but I will try to move through this pretty quickly. 3 minutes. I got my timer on here. My name is Josh Collins. I'm the AVP at Coalition Against Bigger Trucks. Wanted to talk a little bit about what we do, why we work with local governments, and kind of why I'm reaching out to the mayor and city council here. We do, everything is in the name, Coalition Against Bigger Trucks. We work with local government, law enforcement, and public safety officials to push back against legislation that would put even heavier, even bigger commercial trucks, tractor trailers on the road. Part of what we do is just grassroots awareness, making sure that local government officials know that this is being discussed. And actually, right now, there is a bill in Congress which would raise the maximum weights from 80,000 pounds to 91,000 pounds. And that is completely unfunded. And it would spill over onto local roads because obviously there's no trip by any of these trucks. It starts and ends on the interstate. Obviously, anytime there's a traffic backup and trucks are using alternate roads, or if they're making deliveries, they end up on local roads. A lot of the local roads and bridges and culverts, for that matter, were not even built to the standards to handle 80,000 pounds in a lot of cases. So there is going to be damaged infrastructure. Safety is an even bigger consideration. Part of the reason we work with law enforcement, the USDOT studied the impact of heavier and longer trucks when they did their comprehensive study on truck size and weight back in 2015. And what they found is the 91,000 pound trucks, which is being proposed in Congress right now, had substantially higher crash involvement rates, higher brake failure, and less maneuverability. That is why we work pretty closely with truck drivers themselves, such as the Teamsters, but also OOIDA, who represents small and very medium-sized trucking companies. Not good for their business. This is really kind of being pushed by a handful of the big mega corporate entities. You can probably guess, it's great for them. We totally understand their business perspective and the profit aspect of it, but not at the cost of it being unfunded, which will beat up local roads, and also at the mercy of public safety, whether it be on the interstates or on local roads. So I provided a draft letter regarding these concerns and kind of tried to put a local spin on this, where truck traffic is, how this could affect the city, where you currently see truck traffic, and then also pointed out some of the safety issues. I sent that over to your city manager. That's the 3-minute cap, I think. Any questions?
We'll take questions or address questions at the end for business from the public. But thank you did you send a
Thank you.
draft letter?
No, if the council's wanting to sign on to a letter, we can provide that for your review.
Okay. Can we read it at least? We can talk about it later. Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next on the council is Ray Hiltz.
Since you gave my name, I live in Albany. I got 4 items,
Okay.
and I'll make it within the 3 minutes. First of all, I want to thank Alex, yourself, for attending, and the rest of the councilors that were at the Lions Breakfast. We're going to be able to donate to different charities of a little over 25,000 was our net. So anyway, I wanted to let you know, you have on the Chamber of Commerce building a mural. It's looking great. I think we should have more around the city.
As do I.
If you have any grandkids or kids that are 14 years or older, I think Ray is going to cover some of it during his time, but we need volunteers at the carousel. Anyone over 14 can volunteer, and it helps on their resume when they look for a job or are going on to college. Our governor, as of 11 o'clock this morning, had not signed it's not decided if she's going to veto or sign the bill on the gas. Some people oppose it. Some people like the idea.
You mean natural gas or gasoline?
Gasoline.
Okay.
Pump gasoline.
Okay.
I have mixed feelings, and please let the governor know that your opinions. I talked with Safeway, people and that pump the gas now, and they said it really won't have much effect. They will have, of the three islands they have, they'll have one island that you can pump the gas yourself. Otherwise, it will not change on the other couple. So I have mixed feelings. I know in the wintertime, I don't want to get out of the car. And if you have a leaky nozzle, that even makes it worse. So anyway, I want to thank you for your time and appreciate Councillor Smith on her, when our mayor did not show up, Marilyn did. And thank you for your time.
I didn't show I had something happen at work, so
I know.
killing me over here. But thank you, Marilyn, Councilor Smith, for standing in for me. Thank you for that. Next on tonight's agenda is Rebecca Bond.
As you said, I'm Rebecca Bond. I work for the Albany Visitors Association here in Albany. And you received in your packet today the visitor guide digitally, and I just wanted to present it to you physically. Surprisingly, we discovered during the pandemic that the demand for visitor guides actually went up. So in 2019, we printed 25,000 of these. In early 2020, we thought we might not need as many, and because of budget shortfalls, we only printed 20,000 and we quickly ran out. So we had to print another one in 10 months instead of a year. We printed 25,000 and ran out again. So this is the second year in a row that we're printing 35,000 and we quickly run out. So demand for print is still up, and hopefully that you'll enjoy those. I did want to point out that we partnered with our partners at Parks and Rec for the cover. They helped us select the perfect cover. We always try to hit the highlights of Albany, and the Northwest Art and Air Festival is certainly one of those. Just to remind you, I'm sure I saw Kim online, and I'm sure she's going to do the same thing, but Art and Air Festival is coming up August 25th through 27th, and they do a fabulous job with that. Bringing Little River Band on Saturday and weather permitting, night glow on Friday night. The articles in this publication are a compilation of Albany's top attractions and activities throughout the area. We want to encourage visitors to stay longer or come back for another visit, and we recognize Albany as the hub of the Willamette Valley, so we do promote things outside of the city proper, because we know the longer we can get people to stay, the more things we can entice them to do, the more money they're going to be spending in our stores and our restaurants and our attractions. And we want to make sure that they have a great time and come back again and again. So that's all from me. I want to thank you again for the opportunity to share with you tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but know that I'll be back with our annual report next month.
Thank you very much. We'll have comments during business from the council, so thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone in chambers that did not sign to speak wish to speak at this time to the council? Thank you. Next on tonight's agenda is the first reading of an ordinance amending the park systems. Let's take a bio break for 5 minutes. We'll go ahead and reconvene, and when Councilor Nova comes back, we'll get started with the next item on the agenda. Can you see if she's? 5 minutes, and it's been 5 minutes. I think somebody's coming in the door now. That her? Perfect, I'll wait. So next on the agenda, as I was stating earlier, first reading of an ordinance amending the Parks Citizen Development Charges. Director Kim Ledane, and pages 3 through 6, she presented to us on Monday evening. Would the city attorney please read the ordinance in title only?
Mr. Mayor.
Mayor?
Yes. Oh, she's there. Okay, there you are.
She's here to answer questions. She presented to you on Monday
Yes,
night,
she did.
but we have an ordinance now. In my review of the packet, I missed the fact that it declares an emergency.
Oh,
So what I'm going to do is read the title instead of the city attorney without declaring an emergency. And if you are amenable to it, we will remove the last section, section 3, which talks about why it's necessary for to declare an emergency, which it is not necessary to do that. So if you're okay, I will read the ordinance title.
go for it. Go ahead, please.
An ordinance amending Albany Municipal Code, Title 15, Parks System Development Charges.
Would the councilor like to make a motion to read the ordinance the second time in title only?
Do we not have opportunity to ask questions, or is that after the second reading? I have a
It's
question.
coming up.
Thank you.
See.
I would move to have the ordinance read a second time in title only.
All those in favor say aye.
We didn't get a second.
A second.
Okay.
Oh, there's a second over here? Mm-hmm. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no.
Mr. Mayor, I think you were going to ask for discussion after the motion and the second.
Yes.
So
Let's go ahead and discuss it then, Councilor Novak.
Thank you. I do have a question or two, one of which was in regard to the declaration of an emergency, so I appreciate the city manager clearing that up. On page 5, under exemptions, my question is this implying that all building and placement permit applications for existing lots of record submitted since January 2nd of 1994 are subject to the Parks SDC?
Hi, sorry, I'm online tonight. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to chat. So this is the exact same language that has been present in our Albany Municipal Code. So for at least since 93. And so I don't believe we've ever had any. I'll actually maybe turn that over to to Sean Kidd, as that's a good question, one I don't 100% know the answer to.
So is the question, Councilor Novak, that does it apply to all lots that were legally in existence since 1994?
Well-
Because that would be yes.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm understanding, because it looks like they're also saying that residential developments formerly exempt will immediately lose their exemption if we pass this tonight. So I just need to understand this, because it states as of January 1st, 1994. So as of January 2nd, then, the next day, is that implying that then all of these buildings and placement permit applications for existing lots of record submitted since January 2nd, do they then, do they become subject to the SDC? Is it retroactive? Are we retroactive to January 2nd of 1994? That's my question.
No,
That's part of my question.
Great
Good
question.
Good evening, Counselor. So the language is actually a carryover from the original ordinance when these were originally adopted. So what is basically, when that was adopted in 94, was basically setting a timeline, was building permits that were submitted prior to that date, they were exempted from the SDC. Now, that really doesn't apply anymore, because we wouldn't have any building permits that were submitted prior to 94 that are still active. They would already be finalized out, and it wouldn't be the case. So or if somebody were to, well, yeah, they just wouldn't apply. But any new development, so any new building permit that's submitted, say today, Parks SDCs would apply.
Okay, thank
But
you.
we're not going to reach back.
Thank
probably
you.
back
Sometimes
and
the
grab
language
that.
leaves a little bit to be desired in terms of clarity, so that's why I ask.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you.
Councilor Novak, it's important to note what Matthew was saying is this is the existing code, which was written 30 years ago. So the changes that you see are in the strike through and the bold print. Otherwise, it's just what's already in the code.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the clarification.
Counselor, any more questions?
No, sir.
Any other counselors have any questions? So let's go ahead and vote. We had a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no.
Mayor?
Oh, go
I
ahead.
got it. Yeah, so you just voted on reading it in.
Second time.
Second
Yeah,
time.
so-
title only, yeah.
Just clarification, where I have you at in the process is you have voted on reading the ordinance a second time in title only, and we are at the reading of the ordinance.
Okay, go ahead and read the ordinance then.
So an ordinance amending Albany Municipal Code Title 15, Parks System Development Charges.
So we had discussion. Would the council like to make a motion to adopt the ordinance?
I would move to adopt the ordinance.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, Director. Next on the agenda is adoption of a resolutions, system development charge financing rate change. Director Yeager from Finance will be speaking to us on page 7 and 8 of your packet.
Good evening. We talked about this on Monday night. What we're asking is to establish a financing fee, which is prime plus 3%, for future SDC financings that we do. And also to establish a $200 application fee for any SDC financings.
Council, any questions for the director? So would the council like to make a motion to adopt the resolution?
I move we approve the resolution as written.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you, Director. Have a nice evening. Adoption of the consent calendar. Would the council like to make a motion?
I move we adopt the consent calendar as written.
Second.
Thank you. So I also want to make sure we included the amended, the addendum.
Just to clarify, Councilor Montague, that does include the supplemental agenda, the item that was included in the supplemental agenda, your motion?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Thank
all I
you.
need. Thank you.
So adoption of this consent calendar is done.
We didn't vote.
No, we have to vote on it. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you. Next on the agenda is business from the council. Each council will have an opportunity to speak their mind, and we will. So I'll start with, who did I start with last time? I start with you last time? I'll start with Councilor McGee.
Well, as you all know, Barbie Mania is still up and running, but I was able to put on my Barbie collection display at the PIX last week, opening day on Thursday, and a lot of people came out, and so much so, someone from SILE came and offered me to come look at, his late wife was also a collector, and he wants me to come look at the collection and possibly take them off of his hands. So I told him that I would come take a look, probably end of August. But yeah, it was a really big success. It was so much fun. A lot of young girls were there too. And it was just a really fun event. I was super happy to partner with the Pigs. And also, I made the front page. I
Yes,
was
you
like,
did.
oh, okay. And More people, and that was just part of my collection. I actually have more. So those are the ones that I could put my hands on. I think it was like 30, 32 that were there. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Counselor Novak?
I just want to thank Rebecca Bond and the AVA for the lovely hard copy. I looked at this online earlier, and you do beautiful work. I really, really appreciate, you can see what kind of effort goes in here, and I really think you help put Albany on the map every year. And I just appreciate it a lot, tremendously. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Novak. And I agree with you. Counselor Kopczynski?
Yes, Ray Hiltz alluded to the fact that I might be mentioning the carousel, which is true. He mentioned it in a more global fashion for volunteering all the time. But we do have a major event coming up on Saturday, August 19th. It's our 6th annual carnival, which takes up the whole street down in front of the carousel. And they are looking for volunteers to help set up in the morning, actually man some of the booths there, and help take it down. So basically, the event runs from 11 to 3, but we'll actually be opening it probably a half hour or so prior to that, if history is any pattern. And if you're interested in volunteering for that one day, or portion of the day at all, come on down to the carousel and we can get that all sorted out for you.
That it, sir?
That's it.
Thank you very much. Counselor Montague?
So this weekend was my birthday, and it was really fun. I got to float down the river with some friends. I saw a lot of people without their life vests. I was pretty much the only one. So just a reminder, when you're going out on the water, you never know when you're going to need the life vest, and it's better to have it than not. Also, make sure you wear your sunscreen. A couple people in our party were not as diligent as I was and got some random spots burnt on them. So be safe and wear your sunscreen.
Thank you very much for that. That's public safety. That's perfect. We should probably do a public safety on that also, Matt. And then Counselor Newton next up.
I just wanted to express, no secret, I obviously love Albany, love our community. I've had, this month of July has been a more tumultuous one than normal. But I just wanted to express my gratitude for my incredible community. My neighbors really stepped up and have always been checking in with me. I've lost 3 family members just over the past few weeks. Lost my aunt to complications from COVID, lost my cousin Rick to cancer, and then my grandmother. So it's been a doozy of a month. And I just, my husband and I were talking about it, we're just dumbfounded at just how the small things that neighbors do for one another. And it's the reason why we love living where we are. And just wanted to express my gratitude for Albany.
I'm so sorry for your losses. It's been a heck of a month. Counselor Smith?
I have one thing I want to mention. I've reported earlier that I have been attending most of the meetings of the Lynn County group that are working on snagging some of the state money that is available through the governor's order for homelessness. They have been working diligently for months, and there is a side effort that has sprung out of that, and that is to separate Lynn, Benton, and Lincoln counties from the remaining 26 Oregon counties that are in the rural Oregon continuum of care. The money that the governor set aside went to primarily the Portland metro area, Eugene and Salem, which have separate continuums of care, and everybody else has been in one. Wow. The remaining 28 counties in the state have been all under one umbrella. Marion and Polk County broke away a couple of years ago as a result of the governor's order. Deschutes, Crook, and Jefferson broke away. They were able to make a case for having a special need, and that was established. And now Lynn, Benton, and Lincoln are working on that. We had a meeting last week, can't remember the day, I think it was Thursday, over at LBCC Benton Center, the Chinook Hall building, with representatives, elected officials, social service providers, city and county elected officials, emergency services providers, shelter providers, housing providers, healthcare providers from all 3 counties. I was really impressed with the turnout. There was like 80 people there. From Albany, representing Albany, Beth Freelander, Ann Catlin, Nancy Greenman, Stacy Bartholomew, Carol Davies, Hillary Kosmicki, and all 3 of our shelters, and myself. But we listened to the folks who helped form the Marion and Polk continuum of care a couple of years ago. They've got it up and running. They told us all the gruesomeness and all the benefit that they have dealt with and how it's resulted in their ability to get a substantial chunk of money to share among all of their partners, as we intend to do with all of our partners in our 3-county area. At the end of the meeting, we took a vote of those present, and it was unanimous to pursue that path. So I see this as an extension of, it's kind of a combination of what started with our HEART organization in 2007 and got added onto with all of the people in Lynn County that came together under the governor's order, seeking to get whatever small portion we could get of that money that's available. And the folks in Lynn County in particular are working together so well. It's like they've always been doing this and focusing on a common goal of spreading the wealth to where it's most needed. Anyway, more on that in the future, but
Well done.
I'm happy to say I really appreciate the cooperation that's going on, and there's no turf wars. There's no selfishness that I've seen. It's good work moving forward. So thanks for letting me participate.
Well, I'm glad you're representing us down there during that event, that committee. All I have is that we have a concert coming up on Thursday. It's going to be, what is this? Spin Doctors. And I want to let you guys know that the Parks and Rec staff did an amazing job at the first concert. And I have to admit, it seemed kind of rushed at the beginning because the performer wanted to do her routine. But the Parks and Rec staff did a wonderful job making sure that the concert went off safely. The people had a great time out there. And Debbie Gibson, she was really appreciative and thanked us for having everything ready for her when she got here. And one of our police officers got her signature, and he's really excited about having her autograph. But please join us Thursday night at the concert. Spin Doctors will be there. And I've heard some of their music over my lifetime, but I actually put my little tracks together and I've been listening to them. But please come to that. August, on 10th and 12th, I'll be at the Oregon Mayors Association Conference over in Hood River. So if anything should come up, my president of the council will be the one handling things. And we will be just get out, be safe, have fun, and enjoy the weather right now. Say hi to a kid, give them a token to the carousel, and enjoy your families. Oh, and also, the first, I believe, is National Night Out, which is exciting. So if you are going to participate, who do you want to let them know?
Laura.
Who?
Laura has sent an
Laura
email.
at the police department, and she'll get you assigned and have you come out and go to the parties in the community. And National Night Out is a really great event for us to connect with our communities. Last year, I think Chief and I went to like 8 or 9 parties, or 7 or 8 parties. And it was well worth getting out and answering questions. And she kind of talks about statistics in that community, and it really helps us connect with our constituents. And other than that, I'll turn over to the city manager for his report.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I just have one thing. For the last 4 years or so, Vern has kept us safe here in City Hall and through the pandemic. And he's helped everybody who's come in. He's helped staff. He's done rounds. He's been everywhere while he's been here, which gave the staff a real good feeling that they were in good hands. Well, this is his last week. So on your way out the door this evening, perhaps you'd stop and shake his hand and tell him thank you on behalf of the city. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And with that, I will see you next on August the 7th at 2023 at 4 p.m. for our last work session before the September break, for the break. And Wednesday, August 9th, which is my son's 32nd birthday, at 2023 at 6 p.m. And with that, I'll then adjourn the meeting. Thank you.